Tuesday. I'm gonna go to the gym very shortly, doing a little bit of computer work, but mostly just kind of trying to plan out the day. I work at 3 today. I just finished reading my Bible. I am listening to a sermon by Elevation Church, the one from yesterday. I read my devotional this morning. I wrote out all of the videos that I need to edit today, like short form content. I also need to finish editing and uploading a YouTube video, so that's going to be on the agenda. I really want to film a what I read in August. I might try to do that today if I have time. Yesterday I ended up making a really good dinner. I was trying to make like chicken marsala, and it actually really tasted like it. I think we skipped out on the mashed potatoes because we had cinnamon rolls for dinner. Cinnamon rolls were absolutely fantastic. The only problem was that it got too dark, so I couldn't film it in like good lighting. So today I think I'm going to reheat one of the like I baked it in 2 separate things, so I think I'm going to like reheat it and try to refilm it, so that way I have like a nice aesthetically pleasing video to post. But they were absolutely fantastic. I cannot wait to make them again. They were amazing. I feel like everything that I baked this weekend was really good. It was a very successful baking weekend. Now I just need to make sure that I'm on top of editing everything because I'm so behind. I'm gonna do legs. It's gonna be like a nice modified workout just because of my shoulder. I took yesterday off from the gym, just trying to let my shoulder heal. Like I said, I have like the beginning stages of a torn rotator cuff, something like that. Has not been serving me well. But anyways, it's gonna be a great day. I'm excited to be productive, hopefully get a bunch of things done today. We're gonna try our first fall themed energy drink today. I know these came out a while ago, but I've honestly been waiting for it to be like, I don't know. I wanted to be a couple of days into September to actually give it a try. But we've got the Bloom Crisp Apple. I haven't had a Bloom in a very long time, so see how it is. Comment down below if you drink Bloom or if you've tried any of their energy drinks, specifically this one. Cheers. I 100% expected this to taste like the Fuji apple Celsius, and it does, but better. I'm a big fan, actually. Big fan. Let's see how this leg day goes with this. Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Felt like icing my face. So here we are. It is 6:30. I went to bed late because I came home from work late last night. I'm tired, but we're gonna have a great day. I work at 4 today. I'm gonna do a little bit of computer work, and then I'm going to go to the gym at 9.
We just have the younger people, maybe this isn't so, I'm a little nervous about it. I can tell the rhymes. I did last night is Gone Days, Me, the Fountain of Living Project.
The devotional that I am currently reading is called New Morning Mercies. So good. I'm just going to read this devotional, read my Bible, drink my coffee, and get some editing done. I am about to go to the gym. I just finished editing and uploading a new video, threw in a load of laundry, did the dishwasher. It's gonna be so nice to come home to a clean house. I went to bed last night with the house a mess because I came home from work so late. In this video, I'm also going to share my August reads, all the books that I read in August, which I was kind of looking over them, and I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I only read 6, but they were all fiction. But I do have 1 5-star read, 1, 2, 3 4-star reads, and 1 3-star read. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, did I not count that? Oh yeah, I did. I did have 1 DNF. I did not finish 1 audiobook. Yeah, it was like a pretty successful reading month, so I definitely want to share all of the books that I read. And then I have not yet planned out my TBR for September, even though it's already the 9th, but I have quite a few books that I have already started reading and have sitting on my counter, but I have already finished 2 books thus far. I'm really trying to implement some nonfiction books this month. I just feel like not reading any nonfiction last month was not a good idea. I was supposed to read Man's Search for Meaning last month. I did not get to it, but this morning I actually started reading this book, which I don't even know how I have this, but I have it, and it seems interesting. The Enneagram's uncanny accuracy in describing how human beings are wired, both positively and negatively, has spiked its popularity in recent years, although others have explored its connections with Christian spirituality, Not until Ian Morgan Cron and Susan Stable forged the approach in this book has there been such a practical, comprehensive, and approachable way of accessing Enneagram wisdom. I don't know why, but I just feel like this is going to be very, very intriguing. I'm somebody who does like to not necessarily put myself in a box, but I'm very like, oh, I'm very type A. I abide by everything within the type A niche, etc. So I'm very excited to read this book. I think what I'm gonna do is literally focus on these 2 books being my nonfiction books, and then I'll see if I can get to my other stack. Post-workout meal, I'm having an arugula, beet, and tomato salad with a tuna salad. I think this is tuna. Man, is this tuna? I think it's tuna. But anyways, tuna salad. I put some mustard in there, some pepperoncinis, Greek yogurt, salt, pepper, the works. Bon appetit. It is Alaskan tuna from Wild Planet. I love, love, love that brand. They are sustainable and they have such good quality seafood. It's so nice to always have this like in the pantry whenever I want a quick, easy, high protein lunch. The entire can is 33 grams of protein, so this is literally gonna satiate me for a solid amount of time. But anyways, I'm gonna eat. I'm gonna read my Kindle right now while I eat because I'm reading a really good book, and then I'm gonna get to work. Okay, so I wanted to do a very quick review of all of the books that I read last month. I'm just going to give you my rating and my like a short little plot description. I don't want to give too much away. The first book that I read was She Didn't See It Coming by Sherry Lapina. I've read a couple of books by Sherry and they are all really good thrillers that like I feel like they really hook you. How it all started was the mom was supposed to pick up her daughter from school or something like that. She didn't show up. The school ended up calling the dad and he's like freaking out. He's like, what happened? He comes home, her laptop is on the kitchen counter and everything seems completely normal, but they cannot find her. Her sister ends up coming, her parents end up flying in, and literally nobody can figure out where she went. It's just like she disappeared off the map. My notes were literally that it was very fast-paced. I finished it in like 2 days and I did not see the ending coming, which I personally think is like the best kind of book when you don't expect the ending at all. It's one of those books that's kind of like anybody could have done this kind of thriller, which I really enjoy. Okay, my second read in August. This is probably one of the best books that I've personally read ever. I read this book on Kindle only to end up buying it in a hardcover copy because it is that good and I really want to reread it but have like the physical book. I just feel like there were a lot of like moments in this book that I was like, I kind of want to highlight this. This is really good. And I don't know. I love the ambition and the drive in this novel. That's like, I think that is what really hooked me. I don't think I've ever read something that I'm just like, I don't want to say I feel connected to it because it's like a very niche subject, which I honestly did not think I would enjoy at all. It's about ice skating, but there's just something about it that was so fascinating. Okay, so the favorites. This is set in like a high pressure world of Olympic ice dancing. This follows Kat and Heath, once America's golden couple on the ice, with an intense partnership that blurred the lines between love, ambition, and obsession. I love any book that has like a little bit of love, a little bit of obsession, and of course ambition, but just like something like I love when they throw in some kind of romance, something like that. A decade after their spectacular downfall, a tell-all documentary digs everything back up. Kat decides to finally speak out and the story flashes between past and present, revealing just how complicated their rise and fall really were. This kind of gave me Daisy Jones vibes just because of like the way that they were telling it. I heard some things about this potentially becoming a TV show. I don't know if that's like true or not, but that would be incredible. I would be thrilled. This is probably my favorite book of 2025 so far. My note for this book was, one of the best books I've ever read, had me hooked to every single page. There was drama seeping from every single chapter. Everything that could go wrong went wrong, and that is so true. Also, a very niche topic, but it literally made me so interested in ice skating. Will I ever find a book like this again? like I said, incredible book, and I just want to reiterate everything and anything that could go wrong. That's what happened in this book. 5 out of 5 stars. My first one was a 4 out of 5. I did really like it. Like I said, I just did not freaking expect that ending. It was just so wild. The third book that I read was The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I have read this book before. This time it was audio. The first time was Kindle, or do I have a physical copy? I don't know. Whatever. But anyways, Evelyn Hugo, a glamorous old Hollywood actress, chooses an unknown journalist to tell her life story. She takes her through all 7 of her marriages, exposing the deals, sacrifices, and strategies behind her rise to stardom. But the husbands aren't really the point. It's about who Evelyn truly loved, the parts of herself she had to hide, and what it costs to get everything you think you want. Beautiful story. I think they are making a movie out of this, and I think it's going to be an incredible movie. I just love old Hollywood books. I love anything that takes place in California, New York, etc. This was just a fantastic novel. Like I said, I did read it. The first time that I read it at 5 stars. The second time I rated it 4. Second time reading it, a great book, rated it 5 the first time around, but second time thought it was a 4. It's just a great story. I really enjoyed it. I don't know why it went down a peg for me, but probably because I read the favorites and then I read the Evelyn Hugo and I was like, nothing can top the favorites for me right now. So the next book was totally like very, if we were going right with Evelyn Hugo, we went completely left, because I started reading The Ghostwriter by Julie Clark, which was very much so a thriller mystery, I would say, but I absolutely loved this book. I gave it a 4. In retrospect, I feel like it's like a 4.5. I don't like 0.5s. I don't like point anything, but I feel that it is quite up there for me. Olivia, a struggling writer, reluctantly agrees to ghostwrite her estranged father's memoir. The catch: he wants to finally reveal what happened decades ago when his siblings were murdered in their home, a crime that left his reputation tainted ever since. As Olivia works on the book, she realizes she's not just piecing together his story, but also uncovering buried truths about her family and herself. This book was fantastic. I'm gonna change it. I'm giving it a 5 stars. I'm giving it a 5 stars because, for one, I just want to say that the writing that this author creates, like, she is such a good writer. Julie Clark, I don't know what it is, she's just like very sophisticated about her writing. It does not feel young adult at all. I don't know how to explain it. She's just she's an excellent writer. And on top of that, I do want to say that this book also takes place in Ojai, California, and like I said earlier, I love novels that take place in California because I feel like I can really like visualize it in my head. We went to Ojai a month or 2 ago, and I was just kind of like, it's all right. But now I'm like, oh my goodness, I love Ojai. I want to go back there again. Apparently, like, a lot of artists live there, a lot of creatives live there, so I think that's very cool. This book definitely had me hooked the entire time. I love anything to do with like a murder, a crime, trying to figure out what actually happened. And I love the idea of everybody thinking, oh, this is what happened, and then you dig into the story and the person's like, actually, like unpeeling the layers and discovering new information. I love that. So I don't know, I really liked it. Definitely recommend reading that one. Next up was Count My Lies by Sophie Stava. I did read this on Kindle. I use the Libby app and I usually rent these. It was interesting. I'm not gonna lie, I gave it a 3 stars. It was like a thriller-ish kind of book. It's not that it's a problem. The story was very interesting. It kept me hooked, but I feel like this book is kind of like Frida McFadden books. It's very like, this would never happen. Like, not in a million years. Come on, this is so unrealistic. But it was enjoyable. Okay, Sloane Caraway can't stop lying about little things, about big things, about who she is. One lie spirals into an opportunity she can't resist, working as a nanny for a wealthy family who seem to have the perfect life. But as Sloane gets more deeply entangled, she realizes their world is just built on secrets as hers is. It's a tense, character-driven psychological thriller where you're never sure who to trust. Which is actually true, because I think like halfway through it, I was kind of like, whoa, where did this come from? This kind of gives me, like I said, Frida McFadden vibes, but also Last Mrs. Parrish. similar kind of. I did give this book a 3 stars just because like it's good, but like I said, Frida McFadden vibes. If you're in a reading slump, I'd recommend this book. The next book that I read was called The Last Flight by Julie Clark. This was the last book that I read in August. It's the same author who wrote The Ghostwriter. Claire Cook has the perfect life from the outside, married to a powerful man, living in privilege. In reality though, she is trapped and desperate to escape. At an airport, she crosses paths with another woman who's equally desperate to disappear. They swap tickets on the spot, believing they've outsmarted their lives, but the decision entangles them in ways neither could have imagined, and starting over proves far more dangerous than either planned. I actually started reading this book at the gym, forgot about it for maybe like a week, and then forced myself to read it because I was like, I feel like this has good bones, which it did. I did rate it 3 stars, but only because I just felt like, what did I rate? I didn't write notes. I just felt like the buildup was very long and it was missing that like oomph, if that makes sense. It was missing that like crazy climactic climax. I just wanted more from it. I wish something crazier could have happened. Yeah, and I don't think that I really liked the ending, so that was that. Anyways, those are the 6 books that I read, fiction books that I read in August, and I'm very excited to get through my reads in September. I'm like continuously adding on more books. Yeah, I feel like it was a really good month of reading. I love tracking books that I'm reading, and I love my little sheet that I've created for myself because I write out the synopsis and I try to make it very like professional. Then I write my notes, and I don't know, it's just been very, very enjoyable. I will also say that I did have a DNF. And that was my Oxford year. I did not finish that book. It was an audiobook and it was just like not very interesting. I don't know. I just kind of found it like a little bit meh. And I'm trying very hard to not invest in books that I'm not like, yes, this is good. I'm enjoying this thoroughly. Comment down below if you are planning on reading any of the books that I recommended, if you have read any of them, just in general, and also maybe share the books that you read in August and what you're planning on reading in September, because I would love to add a couple more books to my TBR. I love psychological thrillers, as you know. I like a little bit of romance if it's like fun, like rom-com, but like not too young adult. But yeah, comment down below. Hello, it is very late. I'm home from work. I'm gonna shower and go straight to sleep. Actually, I might read my Kindle for a few minutes to fall asleep. I'm so tired, but at the same time so wired because it's late, obviously, and I'm so hungry, but I don't want to eat right before bed because I feel like it's gonna ruin my sleep, and I am gonna wake up in a couple of hours anyway, so I'm starving. But I'm gonna rinse off and I'll see you in the morning. Tomorrow's gonna be a great day. Good night. Good morning. Set my alarm to 6 today. I'm going to get some computer work done, gym, just some cardio today, and I have work at 11:30 today. I have been absolutely loving my skincare routine lately. I feel like my skin has been really thriving, and if only I could just get myself to drink enough water every single day, literally every single day, I think I'd be perfect.
Right.
Here we are, still dehydrated. In the mornings, I typically wash my face and kind of like get rid of any overnight facial masks or anything that I might have put on with this Thayer's. I just feel like it really cleans my skin really, really well. And then I will typically do, well, now I've started implementing this niacinamide toner, which I really like. I'll either use that or the Rhode glazing milk. And then I have been swapping between these two, but I've been using this one for a while and I'm just trying to finish it up, and then I will follow that with some moisturizer. And I have two. I have one by First Aid Beauty, which is like a dewy one, and then I got a little bit more of a like a stronger moisturizer by Biossance, and that one has squalene in it, which is really, really beneficial for my skin personally.
I've been to seminary, I memorized Greek and Hebrew. Hannah Vanna White, 9 of us in that doctoral class, all 9.
I've mentioned this before a couple of times, but I have always struggled with reading the Bible. It's very hard for me to understand, and it's very hard to sometimes get into it. For the last couple of weeks, I've been trying to read my Bible very consistently. I've been trying to open my eyes, open my ears, open my heart to just basically understand it more. And needless to say, I've still been struggling a lot. So for the last couple of days, I just have not been reading my Bible. I've been reading my devotional and I've been listening to sermons. This morning, I was like, I'm not gonna read my Bible. I'm just not. I'm just gonna journal a little bit. My journal, I couldn't find it. It's on the couch. Like, I literally am so lazy I couldn't even be bothered to look at the couch. That's beside the point. The point is that my Bible was just sitting right there and I was like, screw it. I'm just gonna read a chapter. We'll see what happens. I read the chapter. I don't understand anything. And then I go to my phone and I just start researching and I am like getting more and more into it. I now literally understand this entire chapter. Not only do I understand it, but I am just mind blown at the value of one tiny little chapter. I've mentioned before that I'm starting to read the New Testament from the very beginning, and I'm on chapter 11. It's like less than a page, and I couldn't understand it for the life of me, and here we are, fully comprehending what the Bible is saying, and also fully understanding the value of what is written here. So I want to share it with you. We're gonna do a little Bible study. Moving forward, I'm gonna be using my journal to have a little Bible study with myself, and I figured I'd share. Okay, so today I read Matthew 11. Basically, this is a chapter about how people respond to Jesus with doubt, with criticism, with rejection, or sometimes with faith. It begins with John the Baptist, who is in prison. He sent his disciples to ask Jesus if he's really the Messiah. This shows that even the strongest believers can wrestle with doubt when life doesn't go as expected. Jesus responds not with anger, but with evidence. The blind see, the lame walk, the deaf hear, the dead are raised, and the poor hear the good news. He gently reassures John through the works of God's kingdom. It says it here in the Bible, go and report to John what you hear and see. The blind receive their sight, the lame walk, those with leprosy are cleansed, the deaf hear, the dead are raised, and the poor are told the good news. And blessed is the one who isn't offended by me. Jesus then honors John as the greatest prophet, the one who prepared the way for him. Yet he also explains that even the least person in God's kingdom is greater than John, because they actually get to experience the fulfillment of what John only pointed towards. This reminds us of the privilege we have in knowing Christ personally. Then Jesus is talking about how the people of his generation are never satisfied, and it says it here in the Bible. To what should I compare this generation? It's like children sitting in the marketplaces who call out to other children. We played the flute for you, but you didn't dance. We sang lament, but you didn't mourn. For John came neither eating nor drinking, and they say he has a demon. The Son of Man came eating and drinking, and they say, look, a glutton and a drunkard, a friend of tax collectors and sinners. Yet wisdom is vindicated by her deeds. So Jesus is pointing out to people how the generation is never satisfied. They rejected John for being too strict and Jesus for being too welcoming. It reveals the stubbornness of the human heart. Unbelief finds excuses no matter what form the truth takes. And I think that is so interesting, because how many times have you, perhaps in your life, maybe talked to somebody who is a non-believer and they will say things like, oh, well, Jesus did X. For perfect example, I had a conversation with somebody a couple of weeks ago who is an atheist. They asked me like what pastors I like listen to or who I listen to online and whatnot. And I mentioned somebody and they Googled him, and the first thing that they said was, oh my goodness, I already don't like this person because of their net worth. In my mind, I just thought, like, first off, I was baffled by that, because it's like, you don't know anything about this individual. You don't know the value that they've provided, the jobs that they've provided, because they have, you know, multiple churches, X, Y, and Z. All you're taking this one little thing and you're like digging into it, and you're getting angry and you're creating this negative perspective of this person because of their net worth. And it just makes me think, like, people are never and the reason of why he was unhappy with it, or unhappy with the individual he was saying, is like, well, if this person is truly a good pastor, they should give away all of their wealth, they should give away all of their money, and they should live like Jesus. It just made me think, like, nobody's ever going to be satisfied with anything if you ever talk to them about Christianity and things of that nature. Like, they'll always find something to pick apart. This relates to that. In life, people will reject you for being too strict of a Christian. People will reject you for being too relaxed of a Christian. People will reject you for not following things to a T, or for following things to a T. Nobody's ever satisfied, and I just found that I found that very interesting. Unbelief finds excuses no matter what form the truth takes. Jesus then warned cities where he performed miracles because they still refused to repent. Miracles don't automatically produce faith. Our hearts must turn to God in humility. In contrast, Jesus thanks the Father for revealing truth not to the proud or the powerful, but to the humble and childlike. True understanding of God comes not through intellect or status, but through simple trust. Growing up, I've always had a very childlike faith. I've never done Bible studies. Of course, I went to church. I read my Bible growing up. I listened to music, sermons, etc. And I've like experienced things in my life that make me feel like, yes, Jesus is real. All of this is real. But nobody's ever been like, here you go, Diana. Here is solid evidence that Jesus is real. Like, I've never needed that. I've never cared for it. I actually grew up in, like, my parents were two different religions, and I eventually kind of like found my way towards what I wanted to be. My mom is Christian, but she never like pushed it on me, if that makes sense. Like, of course she took me to church and whatnot, but she was never like, oh my God, Diana, read your Bible, do this, like you have to listen to this, blah, blah, blah. It was, she kind of like led by example, I guess, and I ended up finding it on my own in a way, if that makes sense. But anyways, my point is that I've never needed this like rock hard evidence that Jesus is real. The only thing that I've ever prayed for is for God to reveal himself to me in a way that I could experience him. It's like, look, I know that chocolate exists, but I would love to try it. I would love to try it. Please stop, please provide me with chocolate. Does that make any sense? I know that sounds so dumb, but my point is that I feel like I've always had like a very childlike faith. Like, I know my dad is out there. I would love to meet him, to see him, to chat with him. If you ever have the time, please connect with me. I know you're busy, but I'm here, I'm available. Please, like, whenever you have time, let's meet up kind of vibe. I know that sounds so dumb, but anyways. The chapter ends with one of the most comforting scriptures in the Bible. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Jesus promises that if we walk with him, we won't carry the crushing weight of life alone. His way is gentle, his heart is humbling, and in him we find rest for our souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. So the main takeaways of this whole chapter are that, 1, doubt is real, but Jesus meets us with reassurance. Knowing Christ is the greatest privilege of all. Pride and stubbornness block truth, but humility opens the door. And in Jesus, the weary and burdened find true rest. I thought that was great. I really, really enjoyed this. I'm going to actually get a little bit of work done. Yeah, I'm gonna get a little bit of work done and then go to the gym. I think either go to the gym or go for a run. I don't know. We'll see how I'm feeling in about 20-ish minutes. If you guys at all enjoyed that, if this is at all something that you would like for me to continue doing, please comment down below, because this was so random and so out of the blue, but I really enjoyed it. So let me know what you think. All right, I've got a pretty hearty breakfast today because I'm gonna be at work for a while. I've got a bed of arugula, scrambled eggs, a beet, and ground bison, and then I have some leftover for tomorrow. Bon appetit.
The action that they are looking for, that they will be satisfied with, backing down, you double down.
Made us a almost like a matriciana style pasta for dinner tonight. Some raw parmesan on top. Bon appetit.